At -77 degrees Celsius, the Arctic night was not just cold, it was alive, clawing at flesh, freezing breath in the air before it could escape the lungs. Snow moved like ghosts across the endless white land, hiding danger beneath its beauty. In the middle of this frozen hell stood a small wooden cabin, barely holding together against decades of storms. Smoke no longer rose from its chimney. Inside, Grandma Eliza, 91 years old, wrapped her trembling hands around a rusted iron stove that had gone cold hours ago. Her skin was thin like old parchment, her face carved by time and sorrow. Yet her eyes, those eyes still burned with a fire no winter could kill. Beside her sat Noah, her 7-year-old grandson. His lips were blue. His fingers numb. But he did not cry. Outside, something moved. A low, guttural growl echoed through the night. The wolves had arrived. A life forged in cold. Eliza had lived in the frozen north her entire life. She was born in a time when survival was not a choice, it was a daily battle. She had buried a husband, 2 sons, and watched the world modernize while she remained rooted in snow and silence. Noah was all she had left. When the blizzard struck, it struck without warning. Temperatures dropped faster than any forecast predicted. Radio towers failed. Power lines collapsed. Roads vanished beneath 10-foot walls of snow. They were alone. The stove failed first. Then the lights. Then hope tried to leave, but Eliza did not let it. The first howl. Noah pressed close to her when the first howl pierced the night. "Grandma, what was that?" he whispered. Eliza did not answer immediately. She listened. A second howl followed, closer. Then a third. Her blood ran cold, not from the temperature, but from memory. She had heard that sound once before, 60 years ago, when wolves surrounded her family's sled during a famine winter. They survived then. They would survive now. "Wolves," she said calmly. "Hungry ones." Noah swallowed hard. "Will they come inside?" Eliza pulled him into her chest. "Not while I'm breathing." Hunger and fear. Food was nearly gone. A few dried roots. Half a loaf of frozen bread. Melted snow was their only water. Eliza gave Noah more than herself. Always herself. Her legs barely worked now. Her hands shook violently. But her mind remained sharp, calculating, remembering old tricks passed down by ancestors who survived worse winters with nothing but courage. She knew wolves feared fire, noise, and confidence. They had none of the first. But she would give them the rest. The wolves' circle. The scratching began at midnight. Claws against wood. Sniffing at cracks in the cabin walls. Yellow eyes glowing through the storm like cursed stars. Noah buried his face into her coat. "Grandma, I'm scared." "So am I," Eliza whispered honestly. "But fear doesn't mean we stop." She reached for the last remaining tool, a broken rifle, long out of ammunition. She banged it against the floor. Again. And again. The noise echoed into the night. The wolves backed away, but did not leave. They were patient. So was Eliza. A promise to the dead. As the storm worsened, Eliza's thoughts drifted. She remembered her husband's last words. "Never surrender to the cold. It wants you weak." She remembered burying her sons beneath frozen ground, promising to protect the next generation. Noah stirred in his sleep, shivering violently. Eliza wrapped him tighter, her own strength draining. "If I fall," she whispered into the dark, "he dies." That thought alone kept her alive. The cabin breaks. At dawn, if it could be called that, the wolves attacked. One slammed its body against the door. Another tried to tear through the window frame. Wood cracked. Noah screamed. Eliza stood, her knees screaming in pain, and shoved a burning memory into motion. She grabbed a steel pan, slammed it against the wall, and screamed with everything her lungs had left. "Get back!" Her voice cracked, but it carried power. For a moment, the wolves hesitated. Then one lunged. The door splintered. The last stand. Eliza placed herself between Noah and death. She raised the rifle like a spear. Her heart pounded. Her breath burned. "I've lived long enough," she whispered. "But he hasn't." The wolf leapt. And then a thunderous boom shattered the silence. A flare exploded into the sky. Red light flooded the snow. The wolves scattered, howling in terror. Rescue. A rescue team burst through the storm. They had followed a weak emergency signal that Eliza had activated days earlier, never believing it would be enough. They found the cabin destroyed. They found Eliza collapsed. And Noah alive. Wrapped in her arms. Still breathing. Aftermath. Eliza did not wake up in the hospital. She passed peacefully in her sleep, hands still curled as if holding Noah. Doctors said it was a miracle Noah survived. Noah knew better. Years later, he would tell the story of the night his grandmother fought wolves, cold, and death itself so he could live. And every winter, when the winds screamed, he remembered her words. "Fear doesn't mean we stop.